But let's get in a quick technical view. We have Kunal Bothra who joins us currently. Kunal, what's your take on the Nifty? Where are we headed from here? I mean, we're moving around violently, but is there a trade on the Nifty firstly?
Well, I think, Nigel, there are two perspectives over here at this point, in terms of short term as well as slightly medium term. So probably from a short term basis, expect a time frame of almost 1 week or 10 days. But from a medium term, expect a time frame of 2 to 3 months at least. If you look at the first set of data points, you look at the last 3 or 4 days, after almost 8 or 9 months of this very strong uptrend which we had in 2014, somewhat sideways in 2015. For the first time you've seen 2 successive down gaps on Nifty. So generally when you see 2 down gaps and significant down gaps, there is a chance you may see a short-term pullback. So I'm expecting that probably 8,000, 8,020 could act as a short-term barrier, and the markets can try and test that because of the kind of global recovery you've seen. But what's more worrying to me, Nigel and Latha, is that the flattening of the 2 moving averages. In fact, even yesterday on the channel I mentioned that the 200-day and the 50-day moving average are absolutely flattening, and any sort of direction which these averages now take can actually decide the trend for the next 2 or 3 months for the market. So if the Nifty does not recover very sharply very soon, then I expect that the markets can actually go into a process of a successive downtrend over the next couple of months.
All right, point taken. Kunal, let me come to your stocks. You have a view on Kaveri Seed?
Yes, Latha, this is more of a contrarian approach, and I feel that if you look at the stocks, from a 6 month or 9 month basis, from March 2015 the stock was at 1,070. It's almost corrected 60% in this in last 6 months. If you look at it from a short term basis, also over the last 10 or 12 days, the stock has corrected almost 45-50% from highs of 750 odd. Looking at the very short term charts, if you look at the volume accumulation and the kind of supports at 400, I expect that the stock has been oversold indicator wise as well, and I expect some sort of a recovery happening. So because of the fall was sharp, you expect the recovery also to be much sharper. I'm expecting a target of at least 520 on Kaveri Seeds, keeping a strict stop loss of 420 on it.
All right, rather brave call, Kunal, on that one. But another big outperformer the last couple of years has been SKS Micro. It's given you a big dip. You believe that this dip should be bought into?
Yes, it seems like Nigel, it's holding up to its 200-day moving average, which is pretty good for a stock like this. Especially in a market like this where Nifty and most of these large caps are also struggling to hold their 200-day moving averages. So I think it's a good enough sign that from a short-term basis you may see some sort of a gradual recovery happening in the stock. It seems to be the 200-day moving average is also a demand zone for many of these mid-cap names. So I expect SKS Micro to start seeing some buying over the next couple of days, probably for the next couple of weeks. Expect a target of at least 500, 520 on SKS Micro, keeping a stop loss of 430 on it.
All right. Your next call is a buy call on Adani Ports. Now that one, at least for an untrained eye, is showing higher bottoms and probably higher tops if it can make it.
Yes, Latha, that's absolutely perfect. It's making higher tops, higher bottoms, and you have to give conviction to these charts, which are still holding grounds. It's not just about the 200-day moving average; it's also about its 50-day moving average over the last few days, and that's remarkable because of the kind of carnage you've seen in these large cap names, and this also now more or less being into a large cap category, getting included in the Nifty as well. So I expect that the stock can actually see some gradual signs of recovery. I think at these levels of 350 odd, it could be a good buy for Adani Ports, looking at a target of 370 from a very short term basis, keeping a stop loss 336.
All right then, but as we speak, just take a look at the Nifty. It's down close to around 30 points, and the Bank Nifty is down 260 points. Now it's moving to the low point of the day. Just pull up a couple of stocks. KPIT Technologies should be up for you on the screen. That stock has come in for a fresh bout of selling pressure. Pull up Century Textiles as well. Seen a big cut this week. It's down close to around 18%. It opened up in the green, but that stock as well is giving up most of its gains. And you pull up GMR Infra as well. All those 3 stocks, in fact, among all those big mid-cap winners in early morning trade, they've all given up a goodish bit from the high point of the day. And take a look at the mid-cap space. Now the mid-cap index is higher by only around 25 points. So watch out for those mid-cap stocks. But Kunal, let's get back to you. Your final call is a sell call on HDFC, the big boy.
Yes, Nigel, it's a double top formation on the slightly longer term charts, the weekly or the monthly charts. 1169 was the previous neckline or the support line for this formation. It's broken that decisively, and I expect that the stock can actually correct much lower. From a very short-term basis, again a target of 1070. 1080 is possible on HDFC, keeping a stop loss of exactly that neckline, which is 1169.
All right, Kunal, thank you very much for joining us with all those strategies. Kunal's disclosures will run for you in just a minute. The Bank Nifty, of course, has been the weakest performer. About only a handful of banks like HDFC and J&K Bank and the two State Bank twins, not State Bank itself, the big boy, but the babies, State Bank of Mysore and Travancore, are showing a little bit of green on the screen, as are Dhanlakshmi and J&K Bank, the two small private sector banks. And then you have some very questionable entities like IOB and Central Bank, which have been such wealth destroyers this year, showing a little bit of green. So you really can't take heart from stocks that are showing any green at this point in time. Otherwise, the entire banking pack is a sea of red. And some of the stocks that have lost a lot just in the past hour or so have been United Bank, Corporation Bank, Yes Bank, which you pointed out, SBI. The last half hour has been unkind to banks, and banks have in turn been unkind to the big indices. Well, we want to recap Kunal's picks for you just quickly. He recommended buying Kaveri Seeds with a target of 520 rupees, stop loss at 420. His other buy was SKS Microfinance. His target is 520 and his stop loss is 436. His final buy call for the day was Adani Ports with a target of 370, stop loss at 336. Finally, recommended selling HDFC with a target of 1080, stop loss at 1169.